Today I'm joined by James Falconer from Vive Ut Vivas. Vive Ut Vivas is a clothing brand founded in 2020 in Abergavenny, South Wales. The name is Latin and translates to live that you may live, basically meaning live without fear or consequences, live as if you'll live forever. It's influenced by family heritage and a positive message of enjoying life. Hello, James.
Hi.
That was just a very brief introduction. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you decided to start your brand.
Okay, yeah. So, I basically started in 2020, like you said. I used to work for a not a big clothing company, but it was around for 10 years, headed by a celebrity as well. And I started there as part-time sales assistant, and I finished there as a manager. So I got made redundant from that eventually after 8 years, and I learned so much there that I just thought, well, maybe I'll go try and do my own thing. It was a bit of it kind of came out of nowhere because I got a pub job straight away afterwards. And I was kind of just sort of knocking around for a bit, not really knowing what to do or what to take as my next step. And originally wanted to open a store with all the brands that I like, selling things like that. I didn't know whether to start in Abergavenny or Cardiff because the brand I worked for was in Cardiff. So I wasn't entirely sure what to really do with myself. And then with the current climate and the way that stores are shutting left, right and centre, I thought it's not really feasible to open a shop. So I was like, right, gonna put an X through that one. Next thing was try my own brand. And it took me a while to come up with the name. I had a Spotify list full of songs that I was going through and crossing them out and being like, sound any good. A couple of them I really liked and I still liked, and I look back at them now and then and think, I quite like that one. But yeah, came up with this through family heritage, a bit of research on that, and found that the Falconer clan was a Scottish clan in the Highlands, and they had Vive Ut Vivas as their family motto. So I was like, great, that'll
do.
Yeah, I'll have that. They had the family tartan and everything, so I was like, right, so I'm gonna have that as well. I was like,
nice,
ripping off my own family, but it's my family. So
yeah.
But that's kind of what I did, how it started, and here we are eventually.
And I guess as it turns out, because of lockdown, and it was obviously the right choice to make to go that way rather than open a. Because was this, you say in 2020? I presume it was at the beginning of 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got made redundant in April 2019. So I think it wasn't until like sort of the summer in 2019 which I came up with the name and the idea, and then got it. I work with a brand agency as well called Pros and Cons. Spoke to them about it. They were like, yeah, great. And then it went on hold for a little bit over the Christmas of 2019. And then, 2020, we were ready to go. We were like, cool, everything's sorted. We're ready to go. We came up with a plan. And then lockdown hit. And we were like, okay. So we sat waiting for a few weeks, not sure what to do. And then we were like, do you know what? Let's just release it. We read the online sales were through the roof, and we were like, well, what better time to release it than now? So
what was that process for you? You obviously, I know, because James does know my daughter Meg, which is how I heard about James and the clothing brand. And I know you kind of built up a good Instagram following and things. But so when you just sort of woke up that morning and said, right, come on, let's go for it, let's do it. What was that process for you? How did you, get it out there? How did you get the message out so that people knew who you were and where you were?
Yeah, to begin with, it was a lot of talking to people. To begin with my pub job, I was on the bar and I was talking to a lot of people and people I trusted, a lot of friends that I knew and people that I didn't know. And I would show them little designs on my phone to explain the name, explain where it came from, what it means. And they were like, yeah, it's really cool. I'd show them a jumper and be like, what do you think of this? And they'd be like, I love it, I'd wear that. And I thought, well, maybe I'm actually onto something. So I kind of kept using the pub as a bit of a focus group, really, in terms of like getting feedback of people. I got my first samples in and I took them to the pub and was showing people in the flesh, and they were like, I love it, when they're coming out, when can I buy it? And I thought, great, this is really good. So I did that sort of that was sort of autumn winter 2019, so it was a bit more sort of like around the September-ish time, before Christmas, before 2019 Christmas. So I was kind of like knowing fully well that I'm not going to launch for another half a year or so on. And yeah, people started like asking me about it off their own backs. Then they would come back into the pub, be having a drink on the bar, and they'd be asking me about it and saying, "No, have you got anything out yet? Can I buy anything yet?" And so on. So I kind of built up like a little local following around Abergavenny. Even though I'd been here all my life, I didn't really. I knew a lot of people, but I go into the pub, and there was still a lot of people I didn't know.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, working in the pub, you go in and you know 98% of people in there. So that kind of helped a lot, pushing it to local people, and the support was amazing from start, well, right until now. So I was using that, like I say, as a bit of a focus group, and then I started up the Instagrams, the Facebook, Twitter, and so on, after a few meetings with pros and cons, and I was just doing little sort of teasing posts and little snippets, and the odd sample that we had, I'd lay it out and just take a close-up photo so you weren't seeing the entire product, and little things like that. Luckily, in my old job, there was 12 stores in my old job, and I was managing the Cardiff branch, and each manager was responsible for their own Twitter page. So we kind of got a lot of sort of training, kind of, even if it wasn't meant, we kind of found out what good to post and what isn't good to post, what works, what doesn't work. So that was kind of like a blessing, really, because when I came to doing my own Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, I knew what worked and what doesn't, and what drives interest and what doesn't. So I built up the Instagram following there. Facebook, it's a funny one because Facebook is my most liked page. According to the analytics, it's the one I get most sales through.
Yeah.
Instagram is the one that I get the more interaction with. I get the more comments, I get the more likes, I get the more shares. So Twitter, I get next to nothing. So it's those two, but that was the main thing for me, is building up that, and then launching. When I launched, my phone was just going off all day with sales, and I was like, "This is unbelievable! This is amazing!" And it was a good, say, 90% Abergavenny. There was a few. Because when I was working in Cardiff, I got to know quite a few people around Cardiff, so there was a few in that area. My brother lives in Watford. I've got a massive family up in Yorkshire, so I had cousins and family buying up there. I had my brother in Watford. I had friends in Cardiff all buying, but 90% of it was coming from Cardiff. From Abergavenny on the first few days, and then slowly it started to reach out to different places, which was good. Yeah. So. Yeah, I did use a little bit. I did kind of use the following for my old job to help my old customers. I would message and be like, "Start my own brand." So I did kind of try to sort of, I don't know, sort of fish a few.
Networking.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
That's using your contacts. Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. No,
that's what it's about.
Yeah. So you obviously have a website. How did you decide? What did you build your website on? Is it Shopify or WordPress?
Shopify, yeah.
Shopify. So did you build your own website, or did the branding guys do that for you?
I did. I started, I built one to begin with, never done one in my life before, and I built one on the free trial, the 2-week free trial that you get, and we hadn't launched yet. It was just like seeing how it all goes and how it will look, getting an idea.
How did you find that?
Really, really enjoyable. I loved it. I'd never done it before, so like it was a weird sense of like achievement, I guess. And I was, I'd done. I thought it looked great, and I was like, yeah, it was great. And then I sent it to the guys. I was like, yeah, and they went, oh yeah, no problem. I'll have a little play around with it. And they sent back a way better one. I was like, yeah, let's go with yours. Let's go with yours. Yours is much better. So that's how we run the store, really. They keep all the stock, the pros and cons, the agency. They started the person must be coming up to about 3 years ago now, and I'm really good friends with one of the lads who started it, Steve. So when I came up with the brand and everything, I messaged him and said, "What do you think about this?" He was like, "Great, yeah, we can jump on that and we can make that happen." So that's basically how I got in touch with that brand agency. They've looked after me brilliantly. Without them, I wouldn't have known where to start with it, really. Carl is like the sort of designer and so on. Anything I've got, I send to Carl, and Carl will be like, yeah, great. And he'll, well, any website ideas I got, and he'll go, give me 5 minutes, and it's like, boom, done. I'm like, because I like I say, I started with the first website, the sort of mock-up, and I loved it. I was, but then I looked at Carl's, I was like, yeah, you're so much better, so much better. So a lot, I kind of learning now when to be like, yeah, you guys have,
when to hand it off. So which fulfillment and things like that, are you the one that packs the parcels and sends stuff out, or do you have somebody else doing that?
No, they do that. They've got an office in Loughborough with quite a big space, and they hold all the stock. They pack it and send it. I have done some here. Like I opened a shop recently in Cardiff, a pop-up shop.
Yeah.
Over Christmas, and we on the day that we went into lockdown on the 19th. Luckily, Steve had bought me a lot of stock down, and he was about to leave. He literally was walking to his car, and I quickly rang him and was like, "Steve, we've got a packer. We're shut because we were only running until New Year's Eve. We were closed shop then." So Steve came back. We had to load up half of his car, half of my car. So I had half of the stock in Abergavenny. He had half of it in Loughborough. So over Christmas, I was sending stuff, packing and sending it from my house in Aber. He was sending half of it from Loughborough. Now we've got it all together in Loughborough again, so it makes my life a lot easier.
Well, I think that's one of the guests I was talking to yesterday, actually, and she said she still does all the packing. She sends kind of shampoos and hair products and stuff, and she does all the packing herself, and said it's absolutely exhausting. And I think it's something that most people underestimate, the physical aspects of just standing there packing parcels and doing all that stuff all day.
Yeah. I haven't really got a space for it here either, which doesn't help. If kind of doing it in my bedroom, and then I'm getting bombarded with a dog and all sorts wanting to play with.
That's when things get missed as well, isn't it? When you haven't got room and you're trying to struggle with the space and that kind of thing. So yeah, it sounds like you've definitely taken the right approach to have somebody else do that. That I guess leaves you free then to do what you need to do to grow the business. So what are you doing anything different now when it comes to marketing? What other avenues are you trying and sort of get your name out there?
I've recently I've got a lot of, with my old job, like I said, it was headed by a celebrity and a music star, and one of my old area manager, he's got a lot of contacts from he's been at the brand since like way before I joined. He had a load of contacts. We got chatting again. He said, yeah, I'll send you a load of email addresses for different bands and different places, things like that. So I sent a few products off to a band called the DMAs. I've recently had Alan McGee, who used to own Creation Records in the 90s, who signed Oasis and Primal Scream. I've sent some pieces to him, and he's been wearing them and putting them on his Instagram, so that's been great.
Nice.
It's just, that's what I'd like to kind of go down the route of, is trying to get a few more faces in it and see if that'll help at all, because I think that's you get, well, from what I learned in my old job is that celebrity had a lot of fans, and if he wore something, it flew out. So I think that is one massive way of getting the brand out there to people that you don't know. People overseas, people the other end of the country and things like that, because they all follow the same person. So I think that's kind of, I'd like to try and find a few more faces that I can recognize, faces that I can get them wearing it. Alan McGee was a great one, and he was brilliant for doing it. That was he didn't have to, but it was great. He always likes to help out younger bands and things like that. So I thought I'll try my clothing brand, and he was like, yeah, definitely. So little things like that at the moment. I've done one podcast before. I've done a newspaper interview, that sort of thing. So I'd done a Cardiff Life when I had the store in Cardiff. I had a Cardiff Life interview in there as well. So it's just trying to get it out there. The thing with the Cardiff store as well, that was more than anything, that was a massive marketing attempt, I guess, because from the start, I agreed that if we break even, it's a success. Over Christmas time, I thought I'm bound to take money because people will be out shopping, especially come the end of the fire break lockdown in Wales. I launched shortly after that, so I think people were hungry to get out and shop and spend money. So I was like, right, if I can break even, then it was in the heart of Cardiff as well. There's a lot of footfall back and forth. So I was like, right, if I can break even, I got a good deal on the rent, then it's a success. Because the main thing was people recognizing the logo in the window or from the hanging sign, and then maybe seeing the Facebook advert. Even if they weren't coming in and buying, it was all about recognizing it. So if they see that and then get hit with a Facebook advert, they might go, oh, that's that brand I saw in town. And people were coming in and asking about it as well, which was great. Because then when people come in and ask you about something that you've created, you can talk all day about it. So
100%, yeah.
So that was and as it happened, that was a massive success. We way over even breaking even. So that was a really good risk worth taking, that shop, which I did have a bit of a wobble like the day or two before. We had to set it up, and we were driving back from Cardiff, and it's me and my girlfriend in the car, and I was like, what have I done? I was like, I just bought all this stock and like put all this money into this, and we could make nothing. But we opened the week of Black Friday weekend, which was a massive help as well, as you can imagine. People out for a bargain, and so that was a good marketing thing. And I've noticed on Shopify, actually, you get a few more getting a few more orders from the Cardiff area, from all that sort of the Valleys area, and all that people come to Cardiff for shopping. And so that, I think, was a really good move so far.
I take it, will you do that again then, do you think? Another pop-up shop maybe when things start opening up?
I'd love to. I toyed with the idea of it was, funnily enough, it was in the arcade. It was in Morgan Arcade in Cardiff, where right next door to the shop I used to manage. So I knew the arcade staff, I knew all the other shop staff, I knew I knew all the customers that walked back and through there, people walking through like waving and being like, oh, what are you doing back, and so on. So the arcade said that they'd love to have me back again once all this is over. I'd love to, but I would definitely only do a pop-up. I wouldn't commit to a long-term lease at the moment, especially, like I say, with the way things are going in the high street. You see massive chains that are going under, and you think, well,
it's quite frightening, isn't it? Yeah.
You think if they're going, what luck of independence, really? So that is a big sort of it's up in the air. It is something that I've still got in my mind I'd like to do, maybe in the summer. And I thought what might be a good way of going is, every time I do a sale, I could bring out a pop-up store. I mean, you're more likely to get people in, people find out about it. So I thought that could be another market employee come the summer, or maybe even next Christmas, or depending on, again, restrictions and so on.
Well, who knows where we're going to be next Christmas? I mean, I mean, if somebody's listening to this and thinking, oh, I've never thought about doing a pop-up shop, would you have any words of wisdom for somebody who's maybe thinking about doing it? How would they kind of decide, do you think, whether it would be a good idea for them, and how would they go about figuring out what to do and how to set it up?
I'd say definitely go and basically research the area. Make sure you know the area that you're going to open in. I luckily had all that 8 years worth of experience in that very, very arcade. So like, I kind of counted on that. If I would also say stick to a budget. I had a budget in my head, which I didn't write down. I didn't really research prices before I went into it. And it's like anything. I went in, opened the shop. Well, didn't open the shop, but got the shop set up. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I need more hangers. Oh, I need bags. Oh, I need, and all of a sudden the cost starts adding up.
Yeah.
And it was a bit over what I wanted to start up with. Luckily it all got covered, but like I say, I would definitely have a budget and stick to it as much as possible. But at the same time, it depends what kind of shop you're going for. But if you're like, I was kind of looking to go for a kind of high-end clothing store. So I didn't want to look like a pop-up. I didn't want to look like I've just thrown this together. So do it as high-end and as professionally as you can, but also try and stick to your budget. I know it's hard, it's not easy to do, but there are ways around it. You can buy, especially ask people you know, doing things like, if you need a window display, ask people you know, they might have some sort of shelving or That's the way to do it, I would say, rather, because you don't want to buy anything that you're going to be stuck with for a long time afterwards. If it's only, ours was a 6-week pop-up, and I've now got a garage full of 3 mannequins, paper bags, all sorts, stickers, a lot in there. So I mean, it's good because if I do another one, I can use them again. So, but things like that, make sure you can use them again. If not, try and lend them off someone, or just do it as cheaply as possible. That would be my sort of. But the main thing I would say, research the area. Make sure you know you're going to get the footfall.
When and the right people, I guess, as well, isn't it? You know, there's no point opening up a shop that's full of young, trendy, hip people if you're targeting 50-year-old women.
I mean, I knew that the arcade had, at the end of it, had a lot of independence in it, which was going to help me, because people, you get the independent shopper, and then you get the big brand shopper, don't you? And I thought, well, people are going to come in, people like a new brand, they see the logo and think, what's that? I'll come and have a look. But also the great thing about this arcade is they've got brands like Fred Perry at the front of it. So you've got a similar sort of clientele there, or the clientele that I want to go for. Yeah. Starting at the arcade and hopefully walking through and seeing my clothes on the window and thinking, well, they're quite nice as well. But I would definitely say, research the area. There's no point opening up somewhere that you're not going to get your targeted clientele. And just make sure. We went to view the unit, and we were asking the arcade manager. He said they were down 51% on footfall that time last year, which was a massive worry to begin. And then the following weekend, they had the busiest weekend they've ever had. So it was as we came out of lockdown, as we come out of the Welsh lockdown. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it was like, well, actually, go on then, let's do this. Let's. So it's definitely just research and research and research. That's the main thing. Make sure we're opening the right place. Yeah.
So what do you find? I mean, obviously, running any kind of business is a challenge because there's so many moving parts and there's so many things to do. What do you find the hardest part from your perspective of actually running the business?
I guess trying to keep people interested. I knew that people were going to be interested to begin with. I knew they were going to be like wanting to buy and wanting to rep the brand and so on. It's then sort of trying to keep it fresh and in people's minds. I think you don't want to. What I try to do is because I'm the same. I mean, I'm a serial online shopper. I'm always, even if I haven't got any money, I'm always browsing through and seeing what's on there and what's coming out. But I think we all follow at some point an account, or whether it was be an Instagram account, Facebook account, or emails, even like targeted emails, where you get a bit fed up with them. You see it 2 or 3 times a day and you're like, so it's kind of like that fine balance between keeping people interested and not overdoing it and killing it, so that people start unfollowing you or start like getting bored of what you're bringing out.
Do you do a lot of emails? Because you mentioned emails then. Do you do a lot of emails? Do you do work to kind of get people onto your email list so that you can...
Yeah, we do. On the website, we do a 10% off when you sign up. The usual thing that most people do, 10% off if you sign up to the email. I then do the emails myself using photos that we've taken on the photo shoots. Any graphics that Carl with Pros and Cons has come up with. He might just send me some graphics and I'll add them to the emails. And I'll do them all through Shopify and send it out, send them out myself. I do all the Instagram, Facebook, all that myself. So I do find that quite tough as well, because it's trying to come up with new content all the time. I don't want to keep showing people the same photo over and over and over. And that's quite tough at the moment because of lockdown. It's been difficult to try and organize a photo shoot. We've just bought these new things out, like these zip style sweatshirts, and I've only been able to sort of get my 2 friends that are a couple. Luckily they're couples, so they're in each other's bubble, to have photos wearing them. So we went outside Linda Vista, and I've stayed 2 meters away trying to take photos, and so that's quite difficult at the moment with the whole. Because the last thing you want is the police turning up and giving you a fine.
Well, yes, that's not what you need, is it? No.
So, I mean, that's not going to look good on the brand or me, is it? So I thought, well, get the 2 models that are actually a couple, use them, and then it's just trying to work your way around it. Really, it's like, do I go out with another person now, like one person, and stay 2 meters and take photos. It's difficult to try and.
That's such a challenge, isn't it? Yeah.
So that's it really. That's probably the most difficult thing at the present time. I'm sure there's going to be way more difficult things, but at this current time, I'd say it's just trying to keep people interested in the amount of content for online. Luckily, the guys in Loughborough Pros and Cons take care of a lot of stuff. I rely on them for a lot. So in terms of like orders and sourcing the product and all sorts like that. So luckily, that's not really. All I really have to do for that is send an email, give them a call, or so on, and they're like, "Yeah, no worries, I'll get back to you on that," and it's great.
That's so valuable to have that kind of backup, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. And like I say, because I had like a friendship relationship with Steve, it makes everything so much easier. You would think maybe like harder, but it doesn't. It makes it better because I trust him for start, and Joe and Carl who work with him, and yeah, I just know they're good guys. I trust them, they trust me, and we work together pretty well, I think.
Yeah. So 5 years time, in your ideal world, where do you want Vive Ut Vivas
I'd love to have a bit bigger of a collection. I kind of started out with a bigger collection than I intended last year, and I'm starting to try and sort of slim it down a little bit. I'd like to have a bigger collection. I'd maybe like to have, I'd say I'd like to have a store, but it's difficult to say, isn't it? Because looking at what we're like now, 5 years down the line, is it going to be even worse? Is there going to be any improvement? But I would definitely love to have a flagship store at some point.
In Cardiff, I presume.
Yeah, probably. I mean, as much as I love Abergavenny, it's just not the footfall, is it? It's not.
No.
So, I mean, probably Cardiff, and then work out where I can go from there if it's worth opening other shops and so on. I'd definitely love to sort of have a bit more of a team, maybe like obviously, I mean, the brand. I am the only staff member of the brand at the moment. Steve and Carl and Joe from Pros and Cons, obviously their own brand, and I'm sort of we're like hiring them in a way. So, so I'd love to have a team, maybe like I said earlier, designer, maybe someone to help with the marketing, something along those lines. But it's all about having the budget. But that's what I'd probably like to have in a few years.
Sounds wonderful. All I can say is wish you every success, because Meg's got quite a few of your products and they look lovely. They really are lovely. And it's wonderful to see somebody local to me, and to see somebody sort of started up in what was a challenging time, let's be honest. Early spring 2020, challenging time to start a business, and yet you are succeeding, and it's inspiring to see that. So
we did debate. We were so close to like saying, "Now let's wait until after lockdown," and then luckily,
oh well,
so glad we didn't, because we'd still be waiting. So but we took the risk, and so far it's working, and just hope it continues to.
I do wish you every success.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to seeing that flagship store opening up. We shall come to the opening, I'm sure.
Definitely.
The opening.
Have a big opening.
If people want to reach out to you or get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Facebook or Instagram is always easy. All the handles are Vive Ut Vivas Limited, so Ltd.
Okay, well, I'll put links to those in the show notes anyway. So,
otherwise, there's an email address, info@viveutvivas.com, and that will come straight to my phone, my laptop, everything. So, that's probably the best way.
That's amazing. That's it's been wonderful listening to your story, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me, James.
Thank you for having me.
Every success.
Thank you.
Thank you.